Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Celtic Way morning briefing for Tuesday, the 18th of June. My name is Ryan McGinley at the Ryan McGinley. Today, I'm delighted as always to be joined by Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on the X handle. Sorry, we're a wee bit late, guys. We had a bit of technical issues getting started with the microphone. You know what it's like working with live TV and on live streams as well. Tony, how are you doing this morning?
I'm very well. Yourself? Hopefully, people can hear me. If they can't hear Ryan and myself, let us know in the comment section and we'll just start panicking. But that apart, we're all fine.
Yeah. Um, Tony's from my end. I can hear Tony, but ever so slightly. I don't. Tony says he can hear me quite fine on my end as well. So hopefully everybody else is on the same boat, or everybody's. It seems as if people are saying that they can hear both of us, so it might just be a problem on my end. That's absolutely fine. This podcast, as always, is sponsored by MPH and Weissman. All of their links will be in the description if you're looking for plumbing and heating specialist work. mphboilers.co.uk, and we thank them for sponsoring us. Furthermore, if you subscribe to the website at www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe, £4 for 4 months. On there, Tony, there's a very particular article that you completed yesterday that's on the site today. It's on Callum McGregor, the Celtic captain, Callum McGregor, as Graham Souness called him. I want to give you the floor to sort of talk about that article and how you felt writing that one and the great response that you've had so far.
Yeah, I think it was an issue that had to be addressed. I felt it was disrespectful, derogatory, really, and I've said that in the piece. You can have a look at it, guys. It's in there, and I just felt that Graham Souness knew what he was doing when he said the word Celtic captain, and I think his reply since, when he's doubled down, said he forgot his name, but he forgot his name in the first paragraph, but remember his name in the second paragraph. Knew exactly what he was doing when he was referred to Callum McGregor as the Celtic captain. Felt it came across as very arrogant, very dismissive, and someone who, in the conclusion to the article, I believe is still hurting from the fact that Callum McGregor's led his beloved Rangers a merry dance past 3 years and walked away with the Scottish Premiership trophy since he was made captain of Celtic, taking over Scott Brown's shoes. So I've had a wee pop back at Souness, not that he'll care or listen to anything that I say, but I just felt that it was something that had to be addressed because it really, really got under my skin on Friday. I thought it was really poor. I've never heard him refer to any other player playing for that. And I also mentioned at one point ITV. He was really poor from ITV on Friday, who speaking to went across to the co-commentator Alan McCoist, and they bigged him up as the last Scotland player to score at a Euros, and they showed his Euro '96 goal against Switzerland. Survey says no, Callum McGregor has that honour. He's the last Scotland player to score for Scotland at the Euros, scored against the Czech Republic. So, really poor stuff from ITV on Friday. Just felt it had to be addressed because people don't know who Callum McGregor is. Then, we've got a problem, haven't we? Houston, we have a problem. And I just felt that Graham Souness knew exactly what he was doing. There's now the pile-on to get Billy Gilmour into the side. And as I've mentioned in the piece, Billy Gilmour suddenly morphed into Zinedine Zidane. This is a player who's played, over 70 games for Brighton, 0 goals, 3 assists. So, yeah, Billy Gilmour would have made a great difference against Germany. I'm not so sure. But certainly, there you go. So, it's, I'm not, I wasn't pleased with Souness. I've had my say. It's on the site. People are responding to it well. So, yeah, and I used to respect Souness as a pundit. I thought he was very good. I'll say that in his defence, but I just felt he let himself down there with that one.
Yeah, you've got to know. He obviously does know Callum McGregor's name because he does mention him later on, but it's just the Celtic captain. Like, what has Celtic got to do with the international team? In my opinion, anyway, I don't get why Celtic relate to that situation, or if they relate whatsoever. I know he's a leader figure at Celtic, and I do think he's one of the leaders at Scotland as well. There was a point after, I think it was the second goal, in which he was talking to Andy Robertson, and it looked as if the roles had reversed, and Cal McGregor was the captain, and Andy Robertson was the outfield player that didn't have the captain's armband. But that's just him being comfortable with something with that leadership duty that he's had for Celtic in the past 3 years. I just didn't think it had anything to do with it. The fact that he just called it the Celtic captain was putting that alongside a battering by Germany was, I think I think he knew what he was doing with comments like that, and I think it was I think it was misinformed in terms of the delivery and the way that he did it.
Yeah, also as well, he had a pop and saying it would, further pop by saying it's only you would only get this in the west of Scotland. Form of gaslighting Celtic supporters. To be fair, so we heard that, we see that. What? So you can't. It's only Celtic supporters that are offended by this comment. The comment's offensive. He's there to do a job. And so we're reading that, we're hearing that, we're seeing that. So yeah, we're taking stock of it. It's yeah. I just I don't think he does anything to not stoke it up by saying things like that. To be honest, and he should know better, and he should be better, because he is better than that. He in previous times we've seen him, he's carried himself with an air of dignity and an air of class and an air of arrogance. I get that, but that's just who he was. As a footballer. But I have to say, I genuinely respected his views. I thought he was a decent pundit. I'll say that in his defence. I really did. I thought he was one of the best on telly. But I just felt that he let himself down with there. And yeah, again, Callum McGregor, he was the man that was chosen to front it all up. Spoke with class, spoke with dignity, and he'll be laser focused on helping Scotland win 6 points against Switzerland and Hungary. That's all he'll care about, because as I said in the piece, he's got nothing to prove to anybody, least of all Souness.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry if there's a bit of a delay in there. It's very, very difficult to hear Tony at the moment. So I'm right next to my laptop trying to hear. This is what happens when your headphones fall off your bed in the middle of the night and they don't charge. The joys of modern and wireless technology. So yeah, I think we've spoke about that for 8 minutes now.
Yeah.
I think we'll move on to more pressing matters and current matters concerning Celtic. Like I said in the second half of the title, if you've got any questions, please put them into the comments, and we'll try our best to answer them as best as we can. We're going to try and do that more, open it up more to the commenters, even especially during the Euros time when there's not really any stories going about. It's all rumours, but it's hardly any stories at the moment. But there is one story, Tony, that's broke a couple of hours ago. Seems as if another player in Celtic's supposed deadwood will be leaving the club. And Benjamin Siegrist, he was making comments. I think it was Australian media, or it was to do with Australia for sure. He talked about saying that he wants to intimate East End game in Glasgow's East End is imminent. He's intimated that his end game in Glasgow's East End is imminent. He said, "After my last day at work, I'll leave as soon as possible, that being Glasgow and Celtic, and I'll never come back here to Celtic. No, I'm going to retire there, but not yet." He's talking about Australia. Brit, who is his now fiance, has already indicated that she could do her podcast from Europe. We're excited. So it seems as if Benjamin Siegrist, Celtic's number 2/number 3 goalkeeper, is going to leave the club for pastures new. I think we all knew that was going to be the case, Tony, didn't we?
Yeah, listen, we spoke about Benjamin Siegrist the other day when we had the discussion on players you would keep, players you would sell, and players who should go out on loan. And we all said that we had high hopes for Benjamin Siegrist. When he came, we actually thought he would do what Joe Hart did and take the gloves eventually, but it didn't materialise. It didn't happen for whatever reasons. Again, he's another one like Carol Starfelt, who's fallen in love with someone whose career path has taken them away from Glasgow. And, you can't help who you fall in love with. Wish him all the best. But I think you're right. The curious case of Benjamin Siegrist has just become one of the great kind of unfathomable why he wasn't a success at Celtic. And now you don't want it to end in a particularly bitter note, but I think he's one of those players who, as I say, I think every Celtic supporter had high hopes for, and you feel a bit shortchanged by, what Benjamin Siegrist brought to the party, because I felt he was a wonderful goalkeeper for Dundee United. And, okay, he got few opportunities, but he got some opportunities in the League Cup and stuff like that and looked okay. But I just felt that he would have made a genuine challenge for the gloves, but seemed content just to be the kind of number 2/number 3 goalkeeper before, as I say, he's met somebody and he's met his partner, and as I say, good luck to them all. It's not, you cannot stand in someone's way if their heart lies with someone else and away from your football club. That's, you can't legislate for that. But just I feel disappointed, and I feel it's one of those what ifs with Benjamin Siegrist, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very weird situation because he was the number 2 goalkeeper for a good amount of time for Celtic, and up until the Sydney Super Cup, in which Celtic played Sydney and Everton. And then it seems, for whatever reason, I don't know what's happened. Maybe it's a personal thing, maybe it's something off the park, maybe it's on the park, who knows. I guess we'll find out in due course what's happened. It's not as if one of those ones that's going to be sealed off by an NDA or something like that. I think we will hear about the truth sooner rather than later concerning Benjamin Siegrist. But he was there. He was in and around the first team. I remember him playing against, was it Motherwell at Fir Park in the League Cup?
Played against Ross
I remember
County away, didn't he?
I don't know. I'm not sure if he played at home. If he did, it would have only been 1 or 2 games, and then he wasn't seen again ever since he came back from Sydney. I don't know if it was anything to do with his off the field stuff with his now fiance. I don't know if that maybe rubbed Ange Postecoglou the wrong way. I would just be making rumours at this point, or I would just be speculating. We don't know the whole story, but ever since he came back from that Sydney Super Cup, he's hardly featured whatsoever. I don't even think he has featured in a first team capacity. So it's an interesting one, Tony. He'll move on to Europe. Somewhere in Europe will sign him. It doesn't look as if he's going to go to Australia straight away, which was maybe what people thought he was going to do to be closer to his fiancée. But yeah, it looks as if pastures new will be found by Benjamin Siegrist this summer, and we wish him all the best, don't we? Even though it's not worked out for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's, as I say, you'll look at that one in years to come and think what happened to him, and become a quiz question probably. Where did he go and stuff like that. But I just feel that I just wanted him to push on more. I really thought he could have dislodged and displaced Joe Hart, nearer the start of Joe Hart's 3 years at Celtic, but it just didn't materialise. It didn't happen, and then Joe Hart went on to enjoy 3 wonderful years at Celtic. And you look at the way he left the club, a hero, an iconic figure, and somebody who took the club to heart and got under their skin, and he gave everything for them. And I just felt that Benjamin Siegrist was handed an opportunity which he maybe never made the most of. And good luck to him finding that footballing nirvana somewhere else in Europe or in Australia. I can only say good luck to him. But I think when he realises what he's losing here or what he's passing up on, or he'll miss Celtic. I think he'll say that in his later career. I'm sure he'll miss it. But as I say, he's pursuing other things, and you can't fault people for falling in love with someone and wanting to follow them and their career path as well. So good luck to him, and whatever happens, I hope he goes on to enjoy a successful career somewhere. Because it'd be a shame, because I think he's a talented player, or he was.
Yeah, and not all moves work out at the end of the day, and that's football. If every move did work out, then the footballing world would be a happy place. But they don't always, and he made that risk in going to Celtic, knowing that he had fierce competition in Joe Hart, Scott Bain as well. He's actually found it difficult to displace Scott Bain as the number 2 goalkeeper. I think Bain maybe thought he was going to be number 3 for the remainder of his Celtic career, but he's moved up a notch into number 2. I'm just. Is there any pressing stories that you can think of at the moment to discuss, Tony, or is there anybody? Has there been any players thus far? This has been completely changing the subject, that have impressed you in the Euros that maybe Celtic should look at? I know yesterday Slovakia played, and it was the battle of
the goalkeepers,
the Celtic goalkeeping targets. And Martin Dubravka and Cohen Casteels. I know Casteels is going to Saudi Arabia. That's already been signed. But I thought Dubravka looked pretty good yesterday. I don't know about you.
There was a moment where we were texting each other off air and saying they were having a bit of a nightmare, both of them. But Casteels made a brilliant save, didn't he? The one-handed strong save. And then Dubravka sort of came into it, didn't he? After because there was one where he came running out the goal, and was it the player that plays for Arsenal, Trossard, tried to lob him, wasn't it? and he made a mess of it. So, but yeah, Dubravka looked okay. As I say, Casteels with that brilliant one-handed stop, like he thought, but I don't know how genuine the interest is in either of them, but it was interesting to watch the two of them, wasn't it? And speaking of the coverage, Manchester Bulgan just coming in and saying ITV didn't say McCoy was the last player to score at Euros, they said he was the last player to score a winning goal, which is true to be fair. That is true. If they said that, then fine, I didn't pick up on that. I didn't hear them saying he was the last player to score a winning goal. I thought they said he was the last player to score a goal, so fair enough, I'll hold my hands up to that. But yeah, I think we're watching the Euros and seeing, there was. I'm just interested in left backs, Ryan, at the minute. To be honest, okay. I don't know, goalkeepers a prominent position as well, but I'm kind of looking at left backs and thinking, can they do a job if they're not already a prominent player and playing at an elite level? But yeah, I was interested in that goalkeeping duel yesterday. I thought it was kind of honours even with the two of them yesterday.
Yep. Oh, I can't hear you just now. Two wee seconds. This is what I get for playing about with the audio midway through a podcast. 2 wee seconds. I'll just get this back on. Right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
playing about with the audio, trying to get to hear you a bit more because I think it's only me that can hear you faintly. This is something I need to sort after the podcast. But you see, when you're 5-10 minutes late of doing the podcast, you're like, just get it started. It'll be fine. I was interested in watching that Slovakia-Belgium game yesterday. I was interested to see how Casteels would do. I know he's away. He's going to go to Saudi Arabia. But I thought he was at fault for their goal, because he parries it into a dangerous area, and it's a good second finish from the Slovakian player. In Dubravka's case, he didn't look like a 35-year-old goalkeeper, in my opinion. The only thing that I maybe have a bit of worry towards if Celtic were to go for him was he's playing at the back, because there was a number of times in which he invited pressure due to making the wrong pass. And I think they found out pretty much later on that they had to play it. They had to play long balls out from the back. They were inviting too much pressure on themselves, and Belgium were getting into the game, especially with their subs. Very unlucky with the way that they got that goal at the end, and then VAR so cruelly disallowed it. I think it was the right decision, but at the same time, VAR. What's your view been on VAR in this tournament so far? Because I think it's been absolutely tremendous. I think it doesn't have that much of an intervention. That one yesterday was the biggest intervention thus far, but as a whole, I think it's been pretty good. I like the semi-automatic offside rule as well, that shows you exactly where the players are lined up. That night and day, the night and day decision making is brilliant, and I think that's where technology can be good in football. But what's your opinion been on a VAR thus far?
I think it's great that certainly ITV are cutting to Christina Unco in the studio, aren't they? And she's explaining it as we're going along, what VAR's looking for. And I think that's excellent, and I think she's been very good. To be fair, yesterday me and you had a slight, I wouldn't say a disagreement, but I just felt that was harsh. You said it was a correct decision. I wasn't disputing the correctness of the decision, but I felt it was very, very harsh on Belgium. I said that they would feel really hard done by. Stand by that, because I know it's not deliberate, but it does brush his hand, and that's basically what. But Christina Unco explained that really, really well yesterday when she was asked, and I've been enjoying her input, because at least it's an explanation, and she's actually telling you what they're looking for, explaining the rules as we go along, which is if you're not familiar with the rules, sorry, not the rules, but the laws. So she's very spot on in her assessment and analysis, because she's educating you, saying this is what we're looking for. She was talking about the offside as well. Lukaku's first goal, called it spot on. So when it's used like the Ryan, that was the whole point of VAR coming in. It was to make decisions that that are grey, making them black and white. But it's been the use of the technology so far that's let everybody down, and frustrated fans alike. And yeah, you're going to get some calls, you're not going to get them, but when it's used properly and they're calling it right, then I'm all for that. And as I say, I've been a big fan of the FIFA referee in the studio, Christina Uncle explaining stuff. So long may that continue.
See, I think that's something that should have been brought into the game when VAR was first introduced. There needed to be a show or something, that was displayed worldwide that actually shows you the ins and outs of VAR and what was getting looked at and what constitutes what, different examples, different real world examples as well. If you were to go back and look at incidents that happened pre-VAR, because I think there's a lot of confusion about VAR, and even going out your way to explain decisions is a good way for people to understand what is going on with regard to the system and the video assistant referee in the process. I'm a big fan of it. I think VAR has to be in modern football. That's a controversial opinion. I think with the amount of money and the amount of eyes that are now on football, billions of people watch football a year. VAR needs to be there in order, because you see yesterday, and this is just, I know it's not Celtic, but if that goal does get given, I think there's an outcry from Slovakia because the player clearly handles the ball in the lead up to the goal, and then there would be further discussions as to why the referee didn't see that, why he didn't see that Openda hit the ball with his hand rather than not giving it because the handball was there.
I'm not disputing the outcome or the decision, Ryan, because they got it spot on, and they got it spot on very quickly, didn't they? It didn't take forever. And whilst that was going on, as I say, Christina Unko in the studio was explaining it, and I think she's been very good in terms of her explanation. She's been excellent. You said the other day as well, you were talking about Andros Townsend being very insightful. I think Christina Unko has been insightful in terms of your own understanding of the laws of the game. She's expanding your own football education and your palate. So, and I'd be all for her having, her own show or her own wee bit in certain cases after the match to say this is how this decision was reached, because it's very, very quick when they do it in the crossover tour. So, see at the game, after a game, if there's been an incident like that, I would love her to have 5 or 10 minutes to tell you, illustrate it with graphics and tell you what the referee was looking for in those situations. Because, it'd be explained clearly. And I say I've been very impressed by her, been very impressed by Andros Townsend. And I know it's not Celtic related, as we're saying, but it all feeds into how they can get it so spot on at the Euros and, VAR checks in 30 seconds, less than a minute, when it's been taken forever in the likes of the Scottish League and the English Premier League. So that's what frustrates you and does your head in. But no, I'm not that decision was correct. I just felt it was very harsh on Belgium. But as I said to you yesterday in a text, them rules are them rules, aren't they? Or them laws are them laws.
Absolutely.
So that's it.
I think if Belgium had started playing like that half an hour before full time, they would have got a goal back, maybe even won the game as well. But
you were asking about stories. I mean, I read another story as well about Bernardo. Seemingly, Portuguese media record is saying.
I've muted myself again, having a nightmare here this morning.
That there's
I was going to bring this up. From Hazel.
Wages,
It's a question. What do you think about the hold up in the Bernardo deal? If it's his wages, it's strange. He couldn't have been on a great wage at Benfica, being a non-first team player. Is it our board again? I think the thing is, he would have signed a deal with the hope that he would become a first team player at Benfica. No doubt he'll be on decent money at Benfica because they're not a team that's struggling for cash, for sure, even for their youngsters. But this report came out saying that there's been a stumbling block in the wages. You don't want to read too much into it, but at the same time, you're like, is the same thing's going to happen again with a player? But there's evidence in the past of this happening. You don't want that to happen again, Tony.
Two things at play here, I think. I think it's maybe Bernardo's agent wanting to flush Celtic out and say, right, look, come on, let's get this done. And then the lazy option is to blame the Celtic board, the frugal Celtic board. The only people that know what's happening here, Ryan, is Paulo Bernardo, his agent, and Celtic, Brendan Rodgers. And, what we have is a scouting or recruitment team at the minute, if we have such a thing. So it's, you want to jump across the Celtic board against, it's them penny pinching again. They're being frugal, they're being miserly, they're being stingy. We don't know that. It's a Portuguese media report saying it's a potential stumbling block. We've heard these stories before. It's a player that the manager wants, and the player wants to come back. Lots of situations have, make up a deal. So I just feel that it's maybe a bit of agent talk, maybe paper talk, just trying to flush Celtic out and say, right, come on, let's get this done. Or the agent maybe touting them for a move to somewhere else to see if there's any other interest, throwing a wee hook out there and see if anybody will, bite on the bait. But I fully expect Bernardo to come back to Celtic because the manager rates him very highly, and whatever stumbling block will be overcome. Be very surprised if that deal didn't go down. So we shall see. But I think it's that time of the season, isn't it? These stories are always going to appear, and it's. I leave it to those people who know better, Ryan, who conclude deals and make these things happen. So we shall see.
Yeah, anything can be a stumbling block, especially when you take into consideration. You take into consideration the fact that it looked as if it was so easy to sign the player. The player wanted to come back. The teams wanted to do a deal between Celtic, Benfica. If there's any point in which it stops or negotiations stop, or there's maybe a time in which something's taken a bit longer to go in, then that can be described as a stumbling block. I'm hoping that's the case, and it's just been dramatised for this transfer window. The window's only been open a couple of days. I know Celtic will be identifying and scouting players, but at the same time, it's only been open a couple of days. He's still on his holidays. He's still very much living it up in his holidays. If you look at his Instagram, he's having a great time. This is what happens, especially with your players like Jota, your players like Bernardo. They like going on their holidays before coming back and getting stuck in with the work. So I'm not going to grudge him a holiday, but hopefully he makes his way back to Celtic sooner rather than later. I'm just going to bring up this comment. If I can find it. Scotland the Brave says, what would you say is our top transfer positions needing cover? I'm going for goalkeeper, centre back, left back, right wing, and striker. That's a full shopping list. Tony, do you agree with all of those points on all of those positions and areas?
No, I'm going goalkeeper, centre back, left back, midfielder, and striker. I think we're well stocked for wingers. We just need to get a tune out of one of them, don't we? A real tune. But failing that, you can maybe readdress that in January. But the kind of spine of the team, goalkeeper, a centre back, left back, and I'm still wanting another. I want a robust midfielder in there. Something about a bit of power, a bit of strength, a bit of pace, as the manager says, and a striker. That striker for me is Adam Idah, which leads on to this from Hazel Finn. Would you pay the reported $8 million required to get Idah? Yes, I would. And I would pay it on the premise that you get $4 million for O. So you're not paying. What are you paying then? You've made $1.5 million on O, haven't you, for the 2.5 that you shelled out for? So you'd be paying $5.5 million for Idah, which is probably what people would think he was worth. But I feel that the manager will pay what's required because he wants him. So I don't read too much into. I am very big on mood music, but I don't read too much into stumbling blocks and Norwich are commanding this and demanding that. These talks are ongoing with the likes of Bernardo and Idah. Celtic are doing their due diligence. They're doing it, conducting their affairs properly. There's been no leaks from Celtic yet, officially. It's all kind of, a lot of it's kind of hearsay and speculation and rumour, isn't it? So I just try and read between the lines in all of this. If Brendan Rodgers wants Paulo Bernardo and Adam Idah at his club, which we feel that he does, they will be at the club in the summer. They will be in when Celtic conclude those deals, and the manager certainly wants those deals concluded. But yeah, still want a goalkeeper, still want a left back and a robust midfielder and a centre back as well. And I'm sure Brendan Rodgers is all over that right now. And I think it was July the 1st, wasn't it, Jota signed? Memory serves. That was Jota Day, as I remember
not Bernardo. Bernabé signed the week before, and I think Carter Vickers signed the week before that as well. So round about this time is when Celtic made their first signings 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, so that's in another fortnight, isn't it?
And then it was Odin Thiago Home that signed round about this time last season.
So that's a lot of time, Ryan, in terms of the transfer window. So I'm not getting too uptight that there's no business being done. Business will get done. I'm not jumping on that bandwagon that it's the Celtic board being stingy with regards to Bernardo, just wait and see. I think Celtic know what they need. The manager knows what they need, and they will get what they need. There's a competition on at the minute as well, so the manager's probably all over that, looking at players like you and I are just and throwing them out there. So I'm sure he's doing his due diligence in that too. And Celtic are conducting kind of talks as well, all through that. So I'm pretty confident that things will happen. There's no rush at this minute in time, is there? There's certainly. I'm not panicking. As I say, if we get to the Ayr United match and nobody's in the door, I might panic then, or I might wonder what's going on. But Ayr United's July the 5th. So that's in 13. So that's in 18 days' time. So, that's a long time. So let's just kind of steady the buffs, as they say, and calm down, and let Celtic go about their business quietly and hopefully effectively, Ryan.
That's what we ask for. Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to touch on? Is there any other pressing issues that you want to discuss? Anything in the pipeline? It's been a long couple of weeks without Celtic so far, in my opinion. I'm enjoying the break. I'm enjoying the downtime that the Euros brings and the post-season brings. But at the same time, I think we'll all be ready by the time Celtic come back for pre-season and the league season as well. The fixtures will be out very soon as well, I believe. So that's something to look forward to in the near future. We'll come on live once they've been broadcast to discuss all the key dates that are happening. Yeah, Tony, is there anything else that you want to discuss?
Well, lots of fans as well getting a bit perturbed and uptight that West Ham, the supposed interest in Cameron Carter-Vickers from West Ham. Again, another one of those stories that's just appeared from nowhere and people, running around with their head on fire. Cameron Carter-Vickers is very settled, he's very happy, and you just don't entertain selling Cameron Carter-Vickers at this juncture of his career unless it's for mind-boggling sums of money, isn't it? I mean, that's the way Celtic would do their business. And Cameron Carter-Vickers is very happy, and he's tied down to a very long-term deal, isn't he? So Celtic hold every ace card in any kind of transfer negotiation there, but I just don't see that happening. You're trying to build something here, not dismantle it. I'm sure the manager would echo those sentiments.
Yeah, and midway through the season, last season, he signed a 5.5-year deal. So now he is on his 5-year deal. He is completely signed up for the future, which is absolutely brilliant. And it means that anybody that's looking to buy him will have to pay top dollar for his services. I know that West Ham will be looking for defenders. I believe that they let Angelo Ogbonna, their long-time centre-back, go. I think he left on a free transfer, actually. So they're looking for replacements. They've got a new manager in Lopetegui, who will be wanting to do things differently than David Moyes, I would presume. So maybe something to keep an eye out on. It's a move that maybe could interest Carter-Vickers, but he's from Essex. I know he plays for the USA, but he's from Essex. He is from England. Yeah, that's maybe the final thing that we could talk about, and it's a massive congratulations to Cameron Carter-Vickers and Alistair Johnston for both getting in the respective squads for the Copa America. As the Euros are going on, just as big tournament is going on in South America, Canada, or America in general. Canada and the USA will both be represented by Celtic players in Cameron Carter-Vickers and Alistair Johnston. It's great for the club, isn't it, Tony?
Oh, without a doubt, and I've got to be honest, I'm a big fan of the Copa America. I watched it regularly, avid fan, just because you get the chance to see the likes of Brazil and stuff like that, and Argentina, and so I know you've got interest with Cameron Carter-Vickers playing for America and Alistair Johnston playing for Canada, so you want to tune in and watch them if you can. But yeah, in the past, I regularly tuned into Copa America because it was a football fix during the close season, and I used to love it as a competition, still do. So, and I love the fact I used to stay up late. It's a big kid in me, you know what I mean? I was staying up late to watch the matches again through the night and all that, defying sleep and all that. But yeah, as I say, I'll be interested to see how they do, and if I can tune in and watch their games, then I will, because you can't get enough of watching, your respective players play for their countries. But it's It's a poor substitute for the real thing, isn't it? For the club football, and we're all badly missing it. But we'll grab onto anything that we can get at this minute.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just waiting for the real stuff to get back. As much as I'm enjoying the Euros, we want the real stuff to get back as well. Tony, thank you very much for joining me this morning. A huge apology to everybody for the technical issues that we had that meant that we were a bit later coming on, and the fact that I'm kind of very close. I'm very close to my laptop at the moment to hear what Tony's saying. I've got the gist of what you're saying, Tony. Some really good points made, even if I have to go like that and listen every time that you speak. Tony, thank you very much for joining me.
Pleasure as always. Whatever you're doing today, guys, have a good one. Enjoy the Euros as well. No 2:00 game today, Ryan. I'm disappointed at that. But hey,
Georgia, Turkey at 5:00, and then I think it is Portugal v Czechia. So yeah, still plenty of football. Just the 2 games on today, not the 3 that have been spoiling us for the past couple. But, yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to. We'll be back around at the same time tomorrow to discuss all things Celtic. Hopefully, a bit more movement in the transfer front, as well as maybe talking about the Scotland's upcoming game against Switzerland, in which I think there'll be Celtic players involved as well. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will all see you all tomorrow. Cheers.